These are notes number 3 for this week, multiplying binomials. Your paper should be set up from class when we did the warm-up problems, so these problems should be done also. If you missed it, then you can copy it down right now and try to do them on your own. All right, so here is the beginning of the notes. Pause if you need to write stuff down. Make sure you end up writing 3 questions on the left and having a summary before you take a picture and turn these notes in. I'll try to remind you that again. So anyways, we are learning today to multiply 2 binomials. So you can see there's 1, 2, and 1, 2. 2 terms times 2 terms. And there's no addition or subtraction in between the parentheses, so that's how we know it's multiplication. The first way I'm going to show you right now to multiply binomials is by distributing. So it's like normal distributing, except just a little different. Or we could also call it FOIL for first, or for short. So F is for first, O is for outside, I is for inside, L is for last. So it's actually the same exact thing as distributing. So I'll explain that as I do these examples. I'm also going to try to color it so that you can kind of keep track. So my blue is going to show my first terms multiplying times each other. But if you think about distributing, it's really just the same thing. So like if you were going to distribute, you would think that one, and then O is outside. So these 2 terms are the outside terms, like they're on the outside. So we're going to multiply those. I'm going to go ahead and actually multiply them so that it doesn't get too confusing. So first would be x times 4x, which is 4x squared. And then the O outside, which is just the next one. So it's like I'm distributing by the first term, multiply times both of those. So x times 3 is plus 3x. I'll also put a little color under so you can see where these came from. All right, and then inside, so now I'm going to move on to my -6. Remember, the negative goes with it. I'm going to multiply the 2 inside numbers, and then I'll multiply the 2 last numbers. But again, it really is just like distributing. And that's where it starts to look kind of weird with the arrows, but so let's go ahead and see what we get. -6 times 4x is -24x, and then -6 times 3 is -18. And again, this is my ins from multiplying the 2 inside numbers, and -18 is from multiplying the 2 last. All right, so that's how you multiply it, but a lot of the time when you're multiplying binomials, you end up with like terms. So I'm circling the like terms. They both have an x. You do need to simplify. So first multiply, then look and see if you have any like terms, and then simplify it. So I get 4x squared. When I combine +3 and -24, the sign will be negative. It keeps the sign of the larger number, but subtract. So 24 minus 3 is 21x, and then minus 18. And that is how you do it. All right, so of course, it's going to take more than one example to learn how to do this. So go ahead and copy down this next one. And again, it is just distributing or thinking first, outside, inside, last. I'm not going to make this one as colorful. I just kind of want you to see how the process is done. Okay, so I'm going to multiply first and then outside. So it's like distributing by 2m. 2m times 3m. 2 times 3 is 6. Remember, for the m's, you add exponents. It's a 1 plus a 1, so squared. Then 2m times -4, -8m. So that's first and outside, and then I do my inside last. So I'm going to, basically, it's distributing by this +7. It'll go 7 times 3m and 7 times -4. So 7 times 3 is 21, and they're both positive, so positive 21m. And then 7 times -4 is -28. So again, you just have to distribute and multiply first, outside, inside, last. Okay. If you are missing a term, make sure you double check your work. So the last thing is to combine like terms. And again, I have these 2 that are like terms, and I will combine them. So 6m squared. I've got 21m minus 8m. So I'm going to keep the sign of the larger value, which is the positive 21, and just subtract 8 from 21, which should be 13m. And then 28 just stays minus 28. And that is the answer. Okay, so that's one way of multiplying binomials. You could call it distributing or FOIL. A lot of people know this method as FOIL, first, outside, inside, last, but it really is just first distribute by the first term, multiply, multiply, and then distribute by the second term, multiply, multiply. All right, so here is the second way. A lot of students like this way, but you do have to draw a box, which it's just up to you which way you want to do this. So the second way is to use a box. So it's like a box, and then you do a line in the middle going both ways, up and down and side to side. So since we're multiplying two terms times two terms, basically, you're going to put one term here, and then one here, and one here. So you're going to pick one binomial and write it on the top and one on the side. It doesn't matter which one goes where, but you do want to write them like in the correct order. So like 3x plus 1, I might do that on the top, 3x, and then plus 1. And then x plus 4, start at the top, x plus 4. So I'll go ahead and set that up for you guys. If you need to pause, make sure you do pause the video. Okay. So this one I wrote the examples side by side because the box does take up some room. So I'm going to try to fit it in nicely. So we write the binomials on the outside and our answers from multiplying go on the inside. So notice up above how we would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 terms from multiplying. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer will be inside the box. And if there are like terms, we can then combine them and then get the final answer, which we'll write on the side. All right, so I'm going to write 3x plus 1 and then x plus 4. It doesn't matter which one goes on the top, which one goes on the side. It really doesn't matter. I don't know how I normally do this, but I'll just write the first one on the top, 3x, and then plus 1. And then the other one is x plus 4. And then you just multiply. So it's like the top and the side multiply together. So I'd go 3x times x is 3x squared. And then I can go down or to the side, it doesn't matter. But 3x is on the top. That would multiply times the 4. 3 times 4 is 12. And then it has the x. Okay. And then I'm going to multiply this x times the 1. X times 1 is just x, or 1x, but it's just x. And then going down, it's 1 from the top times the 4. So imagine like going across and side to side. 1 times 4 is 4. They're all positive, so if you have to write like signs in between, they'd be pluses. If you had a negative value, you'd be putting a negative inside. So I do see like terms. These two are like terms, 12x, and you do add. So once it's in here, see how there's a plus kind of from that? Just to remind you, it's not like it's actually a plus sign, but it can remind you now you're adding, you're not multiplying anymore. It's 12x plus x. So my final answer is 3x squared plus 13x plus 4. Okay, so it's up to you which method you would prefer to use. I want you to try both ways and practice both ways today, but in the future, it's really just up to you how you want to do this. So we'll do another example, and then back in class, we'll try some together. So I'm going to start by setting up my box. So you draw the box, a vertical and a horizontal line. And again, I'll use colors just to show you where they go. I'm going to put a minus 1. And then over here, a, and I keep that negative with the 11. So a minus 11 or a and negative 11. And now I just have to multiply. So go ahead and give it a try. See if you can do this as I'm doing it. Multiply each top and side, top and side. So I'm going to start here. A times A is A squared. So all of these are multiplying. To fill in the boxes, it's multiplying. This time I'll go down. It doesn't matter which direction you go. A times negative 11 is negative 11A. Then over here, I've got negative 1 times A, so negative 1A or just negative A. And then to get this box, it's negative 1 times negative 11. And negative times a negative is a positive, so positive 11. Or if you want, you can put a plus. So you multiply to get the inside numbers. And then when you write your final answer, it is just all of these. Write it in standard form. So remember, the highest exponent goes first, and then the constant comes last. But I do see like terms, and you want to make sure you combine those like terms. So a squared comes first, and then negative 11a minus 1a, negatives, they're both negative, so you add it. So it becomes 1 more negative, so negative 12a. And then the 11, I have to put a plus and then 11. All right. So here's 2 problems for you to try. I want you to try one of them doing FOIL, and then the other one try doing a box. It doesn't matter to me which one you try with a box, but I want you to try one of each way. And we will go over that in class. But really do try it, because it takes a lot of practice to get the hang of this. And remember, you do need to write your 3 questions on the left, a summary at the end. When you're all the way done with that, you take pictures of it and turn it in to our Google Classroom. And remember, during asynchronous learning time, you do have a Math Excel assignment.